What is good, people? It has been quite a long time since our last OshiPod episode, but we are back after a 2 month hiatus. For the people that don't know who I am, my name is E-Man. I'm an Vtuber, a voice actor in training, and a newly appointed part-time owner of a VTuber agency. I want to do more of these solo pods because I was feeling a lot of frustration as of late, and instead of paying $150 for a therapist, I'm like, bro, you got a podcast show, take advantage of it. And I'm like, there we go. I can hop on here for free. I can talk to you guys directly. And I want to be clear that I'm still going to be doing those interviews with other VTubers, seiyus, content creators, and Gucci was not fired. I was getting tied up with a lot of bullshit as of late in terms of the need to highly edit all your videos to getting rounds of approvals for these different projects and the need to quote unquote make the perfect podcast episode. I'm taking this back to my content creator roots, and I'm just going to talk in a very intimate setting about what's going on in my life and talk directly to you guys. So expect these videos or these solo pods to be minimally edited and pretty short, around the 20 to 35 minute mark. I want to use these solo pod episodes to take a closer look at myself and see ways that I can improve on things that I do. But without any further ado, I'm pretty sure you guys want me to dive into the title of this podcast episode, Headline Alerts. Yeeman becoming a VTuber agency owner, specifically a part-time owner of a startup agency called AegisLink, and I run the marketing and content department. Your initial reaction: are you out of your goddamn minds? Let me back it up a little bit, add some meat to the bones, and kind of explain how I got into the situation. So take this back, I want to say April timeframe. Me and Gucci were having a jolly old time. We're putting out some OshiPod episodes, and out of the blue, I get an email from the CEO of AegisLink. He kind of ran things down in terms of, yo, I feel like you and Gucci will be a good fit for our company. And to me, I was kind of taken back because up to that point, I think we were one episode in, had no credibility, and probably around like 100 subscribers for this show. But of course, like me and Gucci, we have our separate things. I have my YouTube channel. He has all the great stuff he's doing for the mod community. And it kind of made sense from that point. But me and Gucci kind of like in the brainstorming phase of OshiPod, we're like, yo, we're gonna, one of our goals is to get a advertiser. And then literally 2 episodes in, we have an offer to become a part-time owner of a VTuber agency, which is pretty insane. Anyways, so I get reached out by the CEO of AegisLink, and I kind of wanted to learn more. We hopped on an initial call, which went really well. Just getting his mindset of why he's doing this whole thing, the vision, all the good stuff. And I learned after the fact that the CEO, he's actually based in New York City, which is where I also currently live. So I hit him up and go like, you know what? Let's meet up in person. I feel like that's the proper way to do business deals sometimes, just to read the body language, just to feel the vibes in the air. So we decided to break some bread. And honestly, man, we had a solid 3-hour conversation about life, about VTubing, and of course, about the company. And throughout the course of the conversation, the number one thing that stuck with me is how 110% he was invested. This is all public information, but he pretty much invested tens of thousands of dollars of his own money into this company. And it just showed to me that this isn't some like pet project. This isn't some weird side hustle where he's kind of throwing money against it, but he just legitimately putting all his savings into it. And he just so passionate and so driven by his dreams. I was very compelled to the point where I'm like, you know what? I want to be part of this vision. At one point of the night, we're at this cafe, and we ended up getting to that conversation of what my position would look like. And of course, my favorite topic, compensation. And it was like the funniest thing ever because me and the CEO were in this like random ass Korean cafe, just scribbling on a napkin in terms of like what's fair in terms of salary. And eventually we got to a point and a deal, and we shook on it, and it was just good vibes all along. And the poetic thing about this whole thing was in this very same cafe, I want to say back in 2019, I went on a date with this girl, and she told me that my content creation stuff would amount to nothing, and that whatever I'm trying to do within YouTube or content creation stuff, it's never going to work out. So it was a very full circle redemption arc type of situation where in this very same location, I'm able to close one of these biggest business and personal wins ever when it comes to content creation. And I became a part-time owner of a VTuber agency. I think in that same vein of why I joined and became part of this team, I think the biggest thing is I'm faced with this crazy problem where I mean, running a startup company is bad in itself in terms of stress and whatnot, but being a owner of a VTuber agency in 2024, like I said earlier, are you out of your goddamn mind? Is probably one of the craziest things ever. And statistically, it ain't looking so good. I might be cooked, chat. For me, up to this point, I've been so blessed with my content creation journey. Made a lot of money, bought this condo, sponsorships left and right. But I got to a point where I wasn't getting that same level of fulfillment. Even when videos will be getting 100K, 200K views, I just felt numb to that result. And the conclusion that I came up with why that is that I had this underlying desire to be something bigger. And because of that timing, this opportunity with Aegis Link, it fit like a glove, honestly. And that's one of the desires of why I also wanted to join, to be part of something bigger and be part of a group where everyone is working towards the same thing. So really that's kind of the gist of why I joined, and probably going forward I might drop more projects in terms of why I joined, get into the inner deep dots of Ye-Man around that. But for now, I think in a broad stroke, that's why I did this. Now, let's get into the good, bad, and ugly. And before I get into all of this, I want to be very, very clear that this is all my personal opinions and does not reflect the opinions of the overall company. It is a very limited perspective out of experiences of many, and I want you to remember that. So, let's get into the ugly. This is no surprise, but I think one of the biggest things that we're dealt with as a startup, as a no-name brand, is the amount of people blowing you off. Straight up disrespect, and also to the point where they're wasting your time. You're dedicating so much into these different pitches, and you're so emotionally invested in the vision, in what the company is capable of doing, and the other party's response after the presentation is, this is ass. I want to say I've been extremely humbled because I take so much pride in the projects that I'm part of, and I honestly understand where these people are coming from. In 2024 and in the years past, many VTuber agencies at every single level have honestly dropped the ball. And the, I guess, faith in agencies itself is at an all-time low. And really, we don't really have the credibility to show for any of this. I think what I can do to soften this blow is build up this credibility. I feel that Aegis Link could be an outlier, an agency that doesn't just chase profits and trends, but a place where we can really put the talent forward and help them cultivate these talents where they're not only successful number-wise, but also mind-wise. Now, this ideal of me wanting to make the Gen 1 girls pop off, I think that's a question that really sits with me and something that I always ask myself in terms of how far am I willing to make this happen? Am I going the Donald Trump route, art of the deal, where I'm raising down the whole city, I'm in bed with the politicians to make this thing happen? Or am I going to be more level headed and have a little bit more finesse, like President Lincoln during the Civil War? It's always those two that are kind of battling in my mind. And I think the key here is just not to make the ugly in turn make you an ugly person. Now, diving into the bad. Again, I don't think this is going to be a major surprise to anyone, but it really comes down to the politics and people managing. I'm going to keep this very surface level because it's possible that people from Link are probably watching. And again, this is something that happens at every company, especially at the manager level and up. Bottom line is, you're dealing with ego from all walks of life. My tolerance and sense of humor is going to be completely different from the next person. So naturally, because of that, there's going to be that friction. Person A is going to be saying this one thing that to them sounds completely normal, but comes off as insanely insulting to person B, just down based on their background and upbringing. For me, as a leader of this company, I need to learn how to play with all these different egos. It's a challenge for me because up to this point, transparently speaking, I have been a lone wolf. I haven't really hired too much staff people for my E-Man brands, for my YouTube channel. I haven't even really hired any editors. For me, because I'm that lone wolf, I have this set mindset where I'm very tunnel visioned in terms of my goals and objectives. And also, I always demand perfection. But if I carry myself in that fashion as a leader of this company with those same mindset and whatnot, I want to wake up tomorrow morning ending up on the thumbnail image of a drama tuber. I think the key here for me, I'm just taking mental notes, is that I need to stick with my principles rather than my emotions. I need to treat people with dignity and respect. And most importantly, I need to learn how to kill my ego. Now, the good. My favorite part. I want to just say that there's just so many good people out there that are willing to help you with no strings attached. And I'm sure this person won't be seeing this video, but Domo, arigato, thanks. I have so much praise for this person. And I don't want to be glazing too hard. And I think the benefits of the good is I can be open about stuff like this and give roses to people that are actually good individuals. With Domo specifically, I think what really impressed me was how cordial he was. The fact that I'm sure there's so many business opportunities and VTubers that are constantly reaching out for X, Y, and Z. But despite that, for me to just like reach out to tell him like what I do and what Link stands for, he was very respectful about the whole thing. Even when he forgets to like respond to my messages, at the very least, like he will follow up and go like, "Oh shit, my bad. I didn't mean to just leave you on red. I was kind of busy with other things." I think that's why Domo is so respected within the space. And really, hopefully, I mean, we didn't get as far as working at a business capacity level, but when I run into people like this, I want to work with them and I want to make a shit ton of money with them. And hopefully that's our relationship with Domo going forward. When you run into good people like this, it kind of causes you to like self-reflect and ask yourself, what can I do to improve myself as a person? for me, I think what I said earlier, sometimes I'm so much in that lone wolf mindset where it's just go, 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 go. And while there's a lot of benefits to that, especially in a capitalistic, very competitive setting of YouTube, I think one of the cons of doing that is that you kind of zone out other people's emotions, which is not good because at the end of the day, you can't do things alone. You need to learn how to work with different people. And I feel everything is connected. When you kind of rub someone and, God forbid, screw someone over, that's going to come back to you. So I think as I interact with people like Domo, it causes me to self-reflect and it causes me to level up as a person. And there's a different VTuber I don't want to kind of publicly announce her name yet because she is gonna do some stuff for Aegis Link. This individual as well, I like reached out, the typical pitch where I'm like, oh, I saw you specialize in this one thing. Can you come through and kind of give a pep talk, a masterclass for our talents? And honestly, I thought that she wasn't even going to respond, but within like 24, 48 hours, she's like, bet I'll be there. And I was like, oh, dope, cool. I like, what's your rates? I can definitely pay you for your time. And she instantly said that, no, you don't need to pay me. I'll be there. Just let me know the time and place, and I'll pull through. And again, that's such a blessing with when you deal with people like that because as an agency, like we have no credibility, like we have no brands up to that point. So the fact that in blind and good faith, she was like, no, you don't need to say any more. I'll come through, see what I can do to help your people. I think it's just so amazing. And I think when you interact with good people like this, all the bad people you run into in the past, it kind of washes away. It balances out, and I feel like the love breaks through where it keeps you going forward. Because I'm going to be very clear with you. You're going to deal with a lot of snakes, a lot of sharks within this space, and sometimes it can drive you insane. And if you don't have the good routines in place, like therapy, working out, it can really get to your head. So the fact that there's legitimately good people out there where, again, no strings attached, they show you mad love. They're not expecting anything in return. They're not expecting you to cut them a check, to do them favors. It's not a transactional thing. They're just doing things out of love, which means so much. Now, probably one of the biggest good things of being part of VTuber agency is the ability to pour into the actual talents themselves. Gen 1, no spoilers, but make it very broad stroked, they're amazing. And again, it's just so inspiring to be able to be in this position where I can spitball ideas and at the same time learn from them. Because of course, on paper, it seems like a one-way street, where as the director of marketing, you're trying to teach them everything. But in essence, while I'm teaching them something, I always learn something back. There's always like a nugget of learnings in that transaction. And I think one of my goals as a teacher of the Gen 1 talent is that I want these students to surpass me. I'm going to keep it real. I actually want these talents to blow me out of the water. Have like 500K subscribers, 1 million subscribers, and really blow me out of the water. And as a teacher and someone in position of power, I think that will give me so much fulfillment. And diving deeper into that, I think what I'm so humbled and honored with is the fact that I'm able to be part of someone's dream and support it. It really gives you life and humbles you in many ways because essentially these are Gen 1's deepest dreams of making it happen in the VTuber space of getting to that household status and just seeing their drive, ambitions, and their trust in me and the other staff members to make that happen. It's just such a great place of privilege. I think one of the other biggest lessons of the good of being part of Aegis Link is the concept of letting go. I don't need to do everything. I don't need to know everything. I don't need to be in control of everything. Naturally, I don't trust people within the content creation space. It's a dog eats dog world. But through my experience with Aegis Link and these different parties, I've learned to embrace of letting other people shine in what they're good at. And it's really nice to know that I've changed as a person. Again, going to that earlier point of being a lone wolf where I'm trying to do everything on my own, being able to let other people fill that space in and fucking kill it, man. I think it's just so encouraging. And again, it elevates you. A rising tide raises all ships. Quote of the day. For me, it's all about energy. It doesn't need to be me talking to another content creator. It can be as simple as, I don't know, Gucci excelling at setting up a Discord server, or the CEO, Andrew, killing it with just his leadership skills. It can be as simple as that, where you're able to observe and take those learnings into like your own thing. I think that's the beautiful thing about content creation or creating art, is that you don't expect where the inspiration comes from. You least expect it in these spaces, and when you come across it, you're like, oh shit, I can apply that to my own art. So I think it's just so beautiful. And again, there's a lot of uglies, there's a lot of bad. I'm gonna be very honest with you. There's some nights where I do stay up pretty late in terms of not being able to solve problems right away. And again, the burden of being able to like navigate these different relationships, it can get to you sometimes. But when you get to those highlights, those good highlights, those moments where it gives you peace and purpose, everything falls into place. When you hit those moments, that is what keeps you going. I think the perfect analogy for this is when you're making a YouTube video, you pour in so much into it, and there's so much bullshit that you got to get through. And honestly, at a certain point, you're like, why the hell am I doing this? But when you drop that final video and those comments start flooding in, where people are like, yo, this one scene, that specific timestamp, that helped me change something in my life. When I see comments like that, it just clicks for me in the sense where it all makes sense. And it's the same with me with Aegis Link. I really hope that things work out. There's only so much I can control. There's so many elements where it's completely out of my control, and there's times where I want to flip fucking tables and shit. But I think it's good knowing that I'm surrounded with talented, passionate, level-headed people, and at the same time also realizing that there's people out there willing to help. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say for this episode. Again, I kind of need to be vague because obviously I can't get into the specifics of the inner workings of a agency, or that will be breaking NDAs. But let me know if you want more of this. I feel like it's a good additional insight within the VTuber space. And again, it doesn't need to just be me and my experience at EgisLink. I can also talk about my journey as trying to break into the VA industry, or even my content creation journey. But I do like this format. I'm probably going to mix this in with the normal interview content that I'm doing. And with OshiPod, we got some stuff cooking in the background. Hopefully, fingers crossed, something good comes out of it. But again, thank you so much for listening in. Hope you guys enjoyed this new solo pod format. And until next time, it's been your boy E-Man. Peace out.